All right, we're in the International Party 9-hole Cup. So it started today. Qualification was today. I looked at it when it first came out, and I've kind of been liking the fact that a lot of these holes, a lot of these tournaments that we've been playing are on one course, so it's not like a mix and match, and I kind of got used to that. And here we've got some Wise Acre Ranch, which we played in the Summer Major, some Sakura Hills, Maple Bay, and so we've got a mix of it. And the Wiseacre ones, they've only been out in the Summer Major, so it was the 2021 Summer Major, and didn't feel like, and it really is a bummer that Golf Clash Notebook is not, I can't believe that nobody took it over. But it doesn't have the Wiseacre ones, and I got to go to Tommy's site. Look at me, I'm bitching. Do I have my little tin hat on? All right. Well, let's just go play it. So I literally have nothing. So I'm just going to go out there and play it blind. I'm just going to play one hole after the next. And my whole goal right now, and this is why it's so important to record your own video when you're playing, especially if you want to try and get better at the game, because my whole goal today is to make minimum score. So if it's a par 4, I need to get a birdie. If there's a par 4 or something out here that's a give me, we want to identify that today. We want to know the par 5s, like which ones. So today would be like, I don't know what the holes are, so my whole goal is I've got 5 bags set up. I've got an extra mile, and all of them have a sniper except for my big topper bag. So I've got an extra mile of rock, my big topper with the cataclysm. If I get on one of those holes where the second shot really requires a cataclysm or a bigger club, and there's only a few of those holes in the game, but if I get on one of those in these holes, I got it covered. And a rocket in case I get on a par 3 where I need a backspin driver and an apocalypse. So I'm ready to roll. And I'm going to take a Titan on just about every hole, because this tournament is sponsored by Titan, the king of balls. That's right. You heard it here. So I'm just going to go out and play. Just playing blind. And my whole goal is minimum score. And then I can go back and watch that video, and I can see like where my red lines were and what I was doing. And like, hey, if you brought out this ball, then you can get out there, and you can learn so much by watching what you did. Plus you can go back and critique especially the shots to the cup. So today, unless it's obviously downhill, I'm just going to take most of the shots at 0. Just do a normal wind adjustment. If there's new people out there that are watching the video, make a comment that you want, and I'll shoot a new, because I've shot several videos over the years talking about the wind ring method, and I would be willing to shoot a brand new video just like, talking about it now, and shoot some more of the basic stuff, but minimum score today. That's the goal. All right, here we go. Hole number 1. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm just going to go play it. And some of these Wiseacre holes, I don't really even remember. I may remember them when I get on them, but I looked at hole number 1, and I was like, have I even played that hole before? All right, I do remember this hole now. So the whole goal for here is I can do a max OP shot. And I got this new extra, or APOC 6. I'm excited. So it's got that extra topspin. And try and get it out into that range. And it looks like it's going to carry a little bit more than normal. So 4 or 5 would be 3 rings. And I'm going to move it like 3 3/4 rings. And that was like a 20% over adjustment. Let's see where that puts me. Now, it seemed like there was a shot on this hole where you could try and get over to the other side, and I think if you brought out a bigger ball, and if I remember correctly, if you hit over to here, you can very easily get over to this area right here, and you have a straight up shot to the cup, and the sand's not in play, the rough's not in play, and you can play it with a marlin. And it is a long sniper shot from over there with a marlin, but you can easily in one-on-one play get up there, get your birdie and move on. But it seemed like there was a way to get over to the other side. But I think, for the most part, this is where we were hitting to. Maybe. I think that's the case. No, I think there was a way to get over to the other side. All right, there's minimum grizzly. Whew. Now, I used to have a little cheat sheet here with numbers on it, and I don't have it here anymore, so I'm not exactly sure what minimum grizzly is. I think it's about 2 per ring. And I'm pretty flat to it. There's 4 miles per hour. Oh, and I hit it great to the right. Oh, that working? Oh, I hit it great to the right. So I have no idea. To me, it looked like if I hit it perfect, I still might miss. But really, you want to hit that perfect in there so you'd know. Because you don't want to really start. Sometimes you're way the hell off, and you can go, okay, hey, you know, I hit it one ring, and I'm that far off. I didn't pull it enough. But on a lot of these holes, and this seems pretty flat coming in, you'd really want to hit perfect a few times. The deal there is, too, is if you're using the app, those numbers for your minimum club and mid, min, max, what percentage you think you're at, if you think you're at 75% or where you think you're at, so that it'll adjust that. It is very helpful to use the app. Very helpful. Because right there I wouldn't have had to remember because I didn't have it written down. The app has it written down all the time. And then I'd have to play with a third device because I usually have a calculator. Well, I wouldn't need a calculator because it would do the math for me. But I usually have my phone set up with my calculator on so that if I need to do fractional math, some of it, like when I'm playing one-on-one, I don't use a calculator at all. I just go play. But in tournaments, sometimes it really does help to use a calculator. More precise. Hole number 2. So I have no idea. Hole number 1 is a figment. So I'll have to go back and watch the video and see what the deal was on it. Hole number 2, par 3. And these par 3s, I think I looked at like the first 3 holes in this tournament, and then I stopped. And the deal was I couldn't remember the wiseacre ones. I was going to have to go back and watch video on it to remember how the hell to play them. It seemed like there was a rough bump here. And this is a rough bump you definitely want to know if there's a wind adjustment on anytime you're dealing with the sand. And this is a great wind for this rough bump because you can pull across the sand. So if you're off, if you under or over pull, you're still going to be in the rough, trying to be as centered in this rough as possible. And using a little bit of left-hand side spin would be ideal. It doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes those areas you've got to be low to the left and then use right hand. Usually for me, if you can zoom way down in on your rings, you're either flat or uphill. If you can't get to your rings, then you're definitely downhill. I feel like I can't get quite as close as I want, so I'm going to do a 4-4. I'm going to do a 10%. And there's 4-5. Hitting it perfect. Just a bit outside, and I overpulled it by doing that 10%. It would have been better just straight up. But that hole definitely feels like maybe on side wind, you don't have to do an adjustment. But if you've got a tailwind or a headwind, just the way that that hole feels like, and the way that a lot of other holes in Golf Clash are, that hole definitely feels like if there was head or tailwind, like you would do an adjustment. If the wind was blowing like it was, or the opposite direction, or if we had any kind of headwind, that rough bump is actually really nice. But if you have tailwind and you got to pull back into that sand may disrupt your rings and make the adjustment really hard. And so if the wind is blowing tailwind, you may need to pick a different way of coming at that hole. It could be dangerous. Possibly. If you don't play this game and you're listening to these videos, my sister watched one of my videos and she's like, dude, that was the boringest ass shit. Like, what the hell were you even talking about? I'm like, well, if you play the game, you know the deal. All right, this hole right here, you don't have to bring out anything big, and I think an extra mile might actually be too much. Yeah, that'll be all right. Now, and you can get way the hell up here with a 3-power ball. And I'm going to pull back just a little from the red line so that I have enough room to work the wind out. And it looks like it might overrun 4.3. It's 2.1 per ring. I'm going to do 2 rings and a smidget. That's a technical term. Hit 1 ring great to the right, and I was rubbing the nubs in curl, which anything that I was putting on in curl is gone because of the great to the right. That's about exactly where I wanted to end up. Now there is a rough bump that you can do here. There's really only 2 ways to come at this hole. You could, if you had the right club at this point, go right to the green and use backspin. So if you're in your wood, you're going to need your Guardian, and if you're in your long iron, you're going to need a Grim Reaper or something of that nature. If you were up where I'm at and you had a big enough ball, you may be able to get up there with your long iron and go out. Or you're going to bounce over from the island and go over to the green. And if you got lower developed pubs, or if you're out here in one-on-one, you're going to use the island all the time. Unless you can get to the right spot to do the rough bump. And my opponents actually, even though they clipped the rough and they came out there, as far as angle-wise, they got a pretty good, they're going to have a good look at it. Okay, so there's max. I'm almost at max. I'm just going to play it at 1 per ring. I'm just going to play 2-8. I can get it lined up where I like it. There's 1, 2, 8. Hitting it perfect. Almost in the cup. Didn't quite pull it enough. And I mean, like, barely not enough. So maybe like a 5% adjustment or something. If I play that again, if you were out here and you practice that, and you hit it a couple times at the without making an adjustment, and if you're still getting the same results, it's close. I wasn't paying attention when my opponent did their red line stuff, so I'm assuming they must be pretty close. That's why they're where they're at. And that club is 1 point something per ring, 1.2 if it's, so they didn't move it very much. And that's what you get when you don't move it correctly. You miss the rough. In my opinion, the most important part of a rough bump is hitting the rough. And the second most important part is getting the hell out of the rough. But if your first shot doesn't hit the rough, you're going to end up in the rough. Almost assuredly. See if my opponent can get in. One ring great to the right. And in the hole. That works. Good luck to you. What hole was that? I don't think I picked anything up, but we're just playing for minimum scoring. I'm trying to give myself a look at it, so I'm trying to at least on every hole give myself some opportunity to get there. That's the deal. If you don't have a ball inventory to put you in a spot where put yourself in the best spot for the clubs that you have and the ball inventory that you have and work that shot to death. It's really weird how many steps you have to go through to get to the end point of a shot, and it all hinges on you being able to hit perfect. Oh man, I haven't played this hole in a long time, and I don't have the club that I really like to play on this hole. I really like to play a Saturn or this hole right here. Damn, I don't have the right fucking. That is depressing. Hey, but what I can do on this is I can try out my brand new and improved APOC. Let's see how far we can get out there. Okay, 3.5. It's 1.5 per ring, so there's 3, 5, and about 10%. And I hit it 7,000 rings great to the left. Let's see how much that curl applies in there, because I'm not used to having that much curl at my disposal, so it's very easy with an extra mile. I would have had to start off where my ball guy was going by this sand, because that's about all an extra mile can make up. So what I normally do on this hole is I will just lay it up right here in front of the sand. And you can bring out a Grim Reaper, a Saturn, and this hole right here, you can go for a dunk. And if you miss the dunk, it's got a backboard behind it, and it'll roll about 3/4 of the way up the backboard and just roll right back down to the cup. So, of all the holes that are in Golf Clash, I've made more eagles by making dunks on this hole than any other way, because I've shot that. I do that all the time. And you can still do it with a Grizzly, but I think I'm close enough that I got a pretty freaking serious shot out of here. Okay, I'm at minimum Kingfisher. And put on one backspin. Okay, it's 2 point. I'm way the hell downhill too. I do that at 4. I'm going to make that adjustment, and I couldn't get it the last little bit. I missed to the left. Hitting it perfect. In the hole. Let me do the math. I should have had my calculator ready. What the hell was I thinking? I was talking about my calculator earlier, and I had it out, and I looked at it, and then it shut down. It's 2 point. It was 3.6 times 1.1 equals divided by 2.2. So 1.8 rings is what I was trying to move it. So what that was a 10% adjustment. So 1.1 times whatever the wind was, that put it at 3.96. And then I switched. I don't care what the book says. I don't care what the apps say. I don't care none of that crap. I played my Hornet a certain way for years and was super successful with my Hornet. But I did not play the numbers that were in the book. I played numbers that I came up with the numbers on my Hornet from just playing, like working those numbers out, and stuck with those numbers, and they worked really good. And my Kingfisher is the same exact accuracy as my Hornet was. And my Hornet is now 100% accurate, and I screwed it up by upgrading it to level 10. I should have never upgraded it to level 10. It should be the one rare that I never upgrade. So my Kingfisher I play at 1.1, 1.6, 2.2. Don't ask. I know. If you pull up the app, those numbers aren't right, but I do like playing with that club. That's why I switched to the Kingfisher, and I am a huge Hornet fan. So if you have a Hornet, in my opinion, you should not upgrade it to level 10. It should be the last rare that you're storing cards in your. So my last rare is a Razor, because I will never use a Razor. So I should have did the down and oneer, because I think there are a couple times where the Razor was like it might have been a better club. But I've been dumping points into it, so on days that I don't get two epics that I like, I just dump the points into my Razor, and at some point when I upgrade my Razor, so I've dumped 3,306 points in my Razor. I wish that club that was still needed to be upgraded was my Hornet, because I like the numbers much better when it was a level 9. Hole number 5. I have no idea what this hole is. No idea. Well, I think we picked up one. I think we're at minimum score, and I think I just picked one up. So, and I think I was real close on at least one of the other ones. All right. I'm not falling for that trick up there at the top. Okay. I'm going to play it with this bag right here. And I know that I don't need very much topspin. I think if I can get to the right spot, I may actually use a little bit of backspin. Maybe not that much. A 3.5, 100% accurate club. There's 3.5. And I'm going to put on a little bit of curl for flavor to bring me back to the fairway before I run the hell out of time. And I need to work on that number, because if I remember correctly, it's one of those areas where you can go with no topspin or backspin. And I don't normally like to do that. And if I can avoid it, I usually try and avoid situations where, like, it's different on drives. Like when you're trying to do a drive like my opponent's doing right there, you want topspin, right? You want this stuff. But if you're trying to pinpoint land a ball in an area like where I'm at, I'm a big fan of using some backspin, because you can control the ball a lot better. And so this may be one of those holes that it's like a sliver of backspin. If you've got tailwind, like really good tailwind, pure tailwind instead of the side wind, maybe you add on a little bit more. And in headwind you can take a little bit, but I don't really like to take shots where I don't have any topspin on it or backspin. I usually like to have a little bit of something, but normally backspin. If I remember correctly, this is one of those shots, it seems like, and it runs you don't have to be all the way to the cup. It will run fast past the cup. And this is another one of those ones that's the same shit, where it doesn't want to take any spin. 3-2. I'm just going to do a straight up 3-2, and I know that's wrong. I know that there is a slight adjustment here. Hit it one ring great to the right, which is like taking wind off. And it was way to the right. So that feels like it might be the plus 10. I know that there is an adjustment here, and I will tell you that if you have lower developed stuff, there is a shot that you can take here. You have to be deep in the hole that I'm in. So where that drive shot was, you need to make sure, it's very important that you don't roll over that hill, because there's a little bit of green and then it rolls over the hill, and then it goes directly down into the rough and sand. So there was a little bit left on the table on my shot, but if you've got a horizon, there is a rough bump that you can do, because the horizon's got so much topspin. And at that point, it doesn't really matter about the ball guide, because you're running topspin, and the topspin will flatten it out. And even if you've got a little bit lower ball guide, you're still going to see that tail go all the way to the cup. Horizon. But that shot to the left, I have never been able to understand why people are taking the shot to the left. Even from the back tees, if you play this hole from the back tees, you can't do the overshot like I did with my rock on the drive. You've got to start off to the left and then bring the ball back to the right. It's a super easy setup shot. But that lower area down there is always the area to play to. And there is a great, like, once I get that number right, I've got a bunch of video on this hole. I'll watch one of them and get that number. But that hole right there is definitely an albiable hole. I'm going to keep an eye on that hole. It seems like the other par 5 we played too was also very albiable. All right, hole number 6. What do we got? Par 3. Par 3. I'm gonna change, because I haven't seen so far where this bag right here would be the deal. And the whole reason I'd be bringing is because you're driving the green with your Cataclysm, and I probably wouldn't need a long iron. But I'm gonna put, just in case on that one hole, I want to have a backspin. I'm gonna bring my Saturn. I'll have to remember the number, and I'll bring my Grim Reaper. We're starting an epic bag. I can definitely change that. Well, I guess we are starting an epic bag. Although it's going to take a miracle to move me off the Rapier and the Nirvana. All right. I am working on my off-roader. I have a long ways to go on my off-roader. But I have made the commitment to work on it to try and get it to level 8. And I'm at level 6 working towards level 7. And I think I've just reached the point where I'm past the halfway mark. So I'm on the downhill slide of level 6 going towards level 7. There is a rough bump that we can do on this hole, it seems. And there's another hole in the game that's very similar to this one. This would be a hole right here where it'd be nice to have a backspin wood. I don't have any wood that has enough backspin on it. But I think there is a rough bump here. And with that headwind, damn. I would think that there would have to be some adjustment. Some. I am in between clubs. Sniper. Okay, I'm at minimum club, so 1.1 times 4.5 equals divided by 1.2. 4.2 rings. There's 4, 2. Ah! And it one ring right to the left. It's a ballsy move, though. Just a bit outside. And a perfect would have been right on the other side. So once again, there might be another 5%er. I'll have to go back, and that's one of the benefits of recording your own video. I'll be able to go back and watch and see what I pulled, because sometimes it's dumbass me. Sometimes I will go back and watch the video and go, dude, what the hell were you talking about? You said right the whole time and you meant left. So I'll be able to go back and watch that and see like what my pull was. And sometimes you go back and you look at you'll watch your stuff and you'll go, okay, hey, I did a 10%. I pulled exactly what I was supposed to do. I hit it perfect and it went in the hole. Okay, that number's good. Or, hey, I did everything right and it was just off to the left. So based off the wind, I need to either, I need to drop the wind down or take something off. Add a 0.1. And in many cases, it's that simple. Instead of doing some wind adjustment and trying to figure out the fractional math, just add a 0.1. I have noticed in my personal experience, I've noticed where sometimes where you're just off, where it's instead of it being a full 2-ring pull, you're just a little short of that. That when you try and judge the little teeny bit that you're off, you would have been better off just to do the 2-ring pull. All right, hole number 7. What do we got here? A big par 4. That picture is so freaking small, it does not ring any bells. Let's go see if we can figure out how to play it. I'll have to switch back to a Titan. We allowed the Katana company to sponsor one hole. Now there's got to be a way to get on this in one. There has to be. Well, I mean, you could at least, seems like this area up here, trying to hit it over, you have the least amount of control on your ball at the very end of the run. And so you really want, and like where they're at right now with the Quasar right up against the red line, they come back to the hole and there's due headwind, it'll be in a different spot. If you wanted to end up in the same spot every time out there, so that your second shot was super consistent, it'll take several times of taking that shot to get the math worked out. Switch out to let's see what that. All right. 3/8. I'm going to do 4/5. That's 3 rings, and I have a little bit of room, so. Let's see where we can end up out there. There's got to be a way to get, if you brought out a bigger ball, you need a little bit more forward distance so that you could try and get around the bend down here at the end. And I think the only way you'd be able to get that kind of arc in it is if you did a max overpower hook. Now you could, from where I'm at, if you were way out here on the end of that little island or finger that he was trying to hit to, I think they're inside of my shot. So I think that would be a little bit closer. I'll have to see how I played this hole before. The way to play it may be that little area down there, but that area down there, you really want to make sure that you got your shot dialed in. That is definitely not an area to be screwing around. All right, where are we at? All right, I'm in my rapier. There's max. About mid-club. See if I can run my top spin. It's 2.4 rings at mid. I'm way the hell downhill. All right, we'll see. Hitting it perfect. In the hole. Eagle. I think that's 2 of the par 4s. I'm not sure. I can't remember the par. I think it was the first par 4 is the missed the first opportunity, but picked up 2 par 4s. Getting some pretty good looks on the par 5s as well. There we go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. All right, I'm gonna go check my. I need to go make sure I have some slots filled. And I've got 1 empty. That's what we're looking for. Hole number 8. This has got to be a par 3. All right. This looks like another rough bump opportunity here. Here we go. These rough bumps are scary in these areas. And today we haven't gotten one where the wind is really bad. Like this is a great wind for the rough bump that's in this area. There's one of these par 3s, and I can't remember what course it's on. We haven't played it in a while. I've seen several different ways that people have gone at it, and I got really ticked off at the hole one day and went out there and was like, okay, let's make some big adjustments, and found a spot and was like in the hole. And then got that hole again, and then it was like I put myself right in that same spot. It was all about where you were set up, and then you just made a wind adjustment. Grizzly. Okay, there's min sniper. There's max. There's mid. I'm close to mid. Get out here. Give myself plenty of room. I'm going to count that as a 2-4. Hitting it perfect. Get in a hole. See if we can get a hole in one. It's going to be close. Hole in one. Look at that. 2 eagles and a hole in one. So I've played minimum score and I picked up 3. That's the kind of round you want to have right there. That's a winning round. You can back 2 of those up on a weekend round. You're in the catbird seat. I think think there was a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunities on this course where it seems like shots that you're really up there close. That one with the rapier at mid club, at minimum club or at max club, it's at 1.2 per ring, and at mid club, the way I play it is at 2.4. But I will almost always run the top spin out when it's at mid club, and anything closer, you're just running top spin, and then it's a little bit different. But that, I'm not sure if I like that. I'd want to get a little bit closer, or I'd want to get a little bit further back. I'll have to go back and think about how I want to take that one par 4 again. All right, hole number 9. All right, what the hell have we got here? Okay, this hole, if I'm seeing this hole correctly, this is a hole that we want to get. If you bring out a big power ball, you can go way down into this area, and you've got a pretty good shot coming up at it from below, but otherwise you're having to come up from the top, and you've got to get way down in there to have a really good shot with your sniper, especially if you're using just a 3 power ball. This is definitely a good hole for a power 5 ball. I'm almost willing to get myself into a little bit of trouble here, because this is a hole right here. It'd really be nice to take that APOC 6 and take it out there and see what it can do, because this hole, it is a long ways to the end. If you do hit in that sand down here on this end and you fail, you're okay, you can recover. But if you're back in this area where you screw up, you are in a big trouble. Big trouble. I'm going to have to think about how I want to play that second shot. If you're in one-on-one, if you're coming out here with a lower developed ball, what you really need for your second shot is a big wood, like a big dog. Even a Guardian will work, because it has the raw distance to get you over to the other side, and it has barely enough topspin. If you use some overpower, you can get through that area. But a big dog is usually a little bit better, Cataclysm. But if you can get far enough down in there, you can bring your sniper. And if you get way down in there, you're really looking at, there is a rough bump, but I would not recommend that rough bump. That is not my cup of tea. I will never tell you that that's a great shot. I'm not sure. We'll see what kind of wind we got. I might be willing to bring out a power 5 ball just to see like what kind of distance. Let's look at it. Let's look at it with that APOC 6 and take it with the APOC 6. Now, some of these holes in Rookie, bringing out a low wind ball. So, like, if you can get yourself, there are so many holes, not every hole, but there are so many holes in this game that you can get to the same exact spot that we're trying to hit to with a bigger power ball. With a Marlin. You just have to work a little harder with the Marlin. Maybe you got to do overpower. But the second shot, it really doesn't matter which ball. It was just easier to get out to that spot, more consistent. But if you could bring a low wind 0 power ball, that second shot, you may have struggled on the drive, but now you're cooking. This hole definitely screams berserker. All right, here we go. Hitting it perfect. Well, let's see how far the APOC can get it down there with a power 5. And I've been farther. Now that was against a headwind. Any kind of tailwind is going to be better. I've been as far as this shadow out here coming out of it. So that's with a tailwind. And the way that shot is going, it's kind of going downhill the whole way. So headwind is really killing it. And tailwind is really helping it. Now, this green has a backboard on it. And this area seems either they took trees out that were a lot closer in here, or they redesigned that mouth. And I think it might be it might be just the trees, but it does look like it's probably just trees. And they've redesigned a lot of these courses over the years. They'll pull them out for a tournament and they'll redesign them. All right, I would have needed a little more distance to be in the good shot with my... All right, going against the headwind. Even with the Power 5 ball, I should have brought a bigger... I'm about to run out of power, so my screen went almost completely dark and damn near tanked the shot. I could barely see the needle through the darkness. Damn machine. Get to the last hole and finally drop one on minimum score would be bad. I was unimpressed with just that little teeny bit of headwind, how much it killed that shot as far as distance-wise out there. I've taken that shot in expert and ended up in the sand because you can catch some pretty big wind, especially if you're using a ball that doesn't have any wind, which helps you out a lot on the drive, but it really kills you on the second shot. That's why, like, the snow globe with zero wind, to me, that's... If you're driving the green, there's a couple holes where you're driving the green on par 5s, or your second shot, it's an eagle hole with a birdie It's a birdie hole with an eagle opportunity. There's a couple of those par 5s that are out there. And your whole goal is to just try and get on the freaking green in 2 so you can make a putt. Those snow globes work really well for those types of shots, because the shot that really counts is already on the green. This is actually no gimme here. Hitting it perfect. That's all about wind. In the hole. Wind was a factor. I moved it over to the edge of the cup, but I was reluctant to move it outside the edge of the cup. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Look at that. First place. Didn't even look at the holes. Just went out there and played around. Tried to put myself in a position on every hole to figure out the easiest way to get minimum score and to put myself in the best opportunity to pick up the next one. So that's the goal. Minus 15. That's the round. Ended really strong. Almost got 6. That would have been a pretty good run right there. Still got a few holes to work on, but I think there'll be some pretty good availability for taking some notes off of that round. All right, there you have it. Minus 15. Thanks for watching. Good luck in the tournament, and Happy New Year's. If I don't see you before then, everybody be safe, and I will see you next year. Thanks for watching.